Welcome to Spill the Tea. We are Cass and Amanda. We are the co-founders of the creative studio Foxtrot Branding.
And in these episodes, we share about navigating our lives as designers and business owners and the challenges and rewards that come up along the way.
So in today's episode, we're going to be discussing how to find design clients and then what the heck do you do once you found someone who's interested in your services.
I think it's going to be a great topic because that's like the number one question we get. But before we dive in, please leave us a rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Or if you're watching on YouTube, give this video a like because we are trying to grow our podcast and reach more designers, and that will help us out a lot.
I don't know if you can tell we're still like newbies to this whole podcast thing because this is the first time we've even asked or mentioned following or liking or reviewing or anything. We're very new to this, so we're trying to figure it out. But yeah, that would be super helpful.
I looked on Apple Podcasts and we had like 5 ratings, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, 2 of those are definitely two of those are definitely me and Amanda because you have to rate your own podcast."
Yeah. You should always be your own biggest supporter as a business owner, I think.
Right, exactly. Okay, so what's the tea at Foxtrot, Amanda? Let's do a little check-in before we dive into our topic.
Yeah, so Foxtrot has been busy, and the last month or so has been like way more hectic than I think both of us thought it would be, especially considering we actually didn't have a ton of client work. Not like big projects. We ended up booking a lot of like client maintenance work, just like small things here and there. And that all kind of added up to be way more than we thought it would be on top of like other internal business work we're trying to achieve. Yeah. So it just got a little crazy and chaotic. So that was kind of rough. But the good side is we actually did get fully booked through the end of the year with client work. Already started booking for January and February of next year. And that just feels so good to have that like income and just like having those clients booked and established, just knowing we have that security. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah. The other thing is we are working on getting our Black Friday sale ready. We always do a really good Black Friday sale on all of our education resources for designers. So keep a lookout for that. We'll be posting about that like closer to time, but that's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I feel like things are slowing down a little bit client-wise because I've been like booked web design like back to back to back. So I'm working my way through these web design timelines, and we're always just working towards our next break, honestly. And that's kind of how like we've set up our like flow of projects throughout the year. So working towards that Christmas break, but I am excited for the Black Friday sale. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just having the space to like work on some new things, put out some new freebies, and I don't know. It's just always nice to work towards the end of the year and have that fresh start.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive in and start talking about how do you even find design clients? So maybe this is like your first clients ever, or maybe you're just in like a slow period of your business and you're like kind of needing to try some new avenues of finding them. We're going to break down all the ways that we've tried, and it's been like we've tried everything, I think.
Yeah.
And
organically,
so we're going to dive into it.
Mm-hmm. We tried everything you can do for free, basically.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll break all of that down, go into detail, kind of tell some stories, and hopefully you'll find some helpful or like maybe new, interesting ways of finding clients you haven't thought about or haven't tried before. And we'll just kind of give you some encouragement and tips on like how to make it happen, because I know that putting yourself out there is really scary and it's not easy. So hopefully we can help guide you through that.
So when it comes to finding clients, especially your first ones, I think you really need to start with like setting proper expectations for yourself about like how starting your business is going to go, and how whether you're starting a business or you're just kind of thinking I'm going to just offer some freelance services, but you need to be realistic about like how quickly you're going to start finding clients, like what the process is going to look like, because this is like the number one question we get on social media comments, like, how do you find clients? How do I find clients? And, you know, truly there's not going to be like an answer of just do this and you'll find clients. It's going to be like, you need to set up all these things in your business and then do it consistently for a long time. And then you're going to start growing. Like we kind of use the metaphor of like a snowball. Like you're going to have a tiny snowball and then it's going to get bigger and bigger as like people start hearing about you and you start getting referrals and like things will pick up. But it is a slow process at the beginning, which is like not a sexy thing to like say. And I don't think it, you know, people talk about it enough when you see like resources about starting a design business. Cause like no one wants to hear that it's going to take a lot of time and effort, but it is, you know, I think you need to have expectations for that, but also know like it's possible. Like you can totally find clients. You just need to know that's going to take time and consistency.
And I think also like the type of clients you're finding or the price point you're booking them at, like that's always going to change too. And so especially if you are a brand new designer, like it may not be realistic that you're going to start booking like 10K projects for your first project, right? Like,
Right. I think sometimes it's like, okay, somebody is new and starting out and they're like, I got my website up, I got my Instagram up. Okay, I'm just going to wait for clients to reach out now. And that is just not at all how finding clients it works, realistically. For most designers when you're starting, the first clients you work with are going to be someone you know or you have a connection to. That is usually how it's going to go because it's kind of a thing you transition yourself into when you start offering services, and you need to kind of test it out and you need to practice your skills even if you have gone to school for design or you've like taken courses and you're self-taught. When it comes to actually working with clients, you need to practice and build your way up to charging a lot of money to people you don't know. Usually you're not just going to step into doing that, you're going to kind of gradually work your way there.
yeah. So I think when we first started our business, this was like back in 2018, I had I was still in college. Cass had graduated already. So it was like my final year. And so we were trying to get this business idea up and running while doing, our other jobs and everything and going to school. Really hectic. But we knew we had to like make time and like be really diligent about finding clients. So we did everything we could think of. And we found some really creative ways to actually like get ourselves out there. So Cass had the great idea to first get involved in our local entrepreneurship center. And I think that was like probably the best thing we really did getting started
Yeah.
because it helped us get into a place where we could be surrounded by other business owners who were, far above us in their journeys and could provide like just, either mentorship or advice or just like, or even potential clients. Like because we built that like trust with them, like just by working with them in the same building every day,
And like
they became our first clients.
a place where we could meet people, and
Mm-hmm.
like
Because there are
be
always people coming
connected
in and
to
out.
our local community. And like I think
Mm-hmm.
basically right after we started our business, we as soon as like a couple weeks after, we joined the local entrepreneur center. But I remember like immediately starting to reach out to any connection I had that had some kind of business or like brand that maybe we could do some kind of project for, with like very low expectations about like how
Yeah.
much we would like charge for it or what it would even look like. Just being like, hey, I started this business, Foxtrot Branding. This is what we offer. Let me know if you need anything. Which I think
Mm-hmm.
was a great idea, and I'm glad we didn't like hold off and be like, no, 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 we need to make sure our website is perfect, or like all these
Yeah,
things
because
are
when
set
you're a
up in our
brand new
business.
designer, it's never going to be perfect, and it'll never be perfect ever in your journey. But like,
Right.
especially when you're brand new, like you don't know what the heck you're doing. If you've like just started a business for the first time, like you shouldn't let like your like perfectionism keep you from like starting and reaching
Hmm.
out.
And not to say like you shouldn't focus on your website and getting all these things to a great level in your business, you should, but you need to be putting a lot of your energy at the same time into like starting to make these connections, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just such a long-term process of getting your name out there that you need to start as soon as you can. So I'm really glad we did that.
Yeah, we also did like unique stuff. Like we made little postcards and we put some kind of like, just information about who we are and what we do. And like there was like a discount code or like $200 off or something like that. And we just like went and like either mailed that out or went to local businesses like around the area where that entrepreneurship center was. And we just went door to door and like talked to people and gave them those cards and let them know that we existed. And I think people often overlook the importance of like little moments even like that,
Mm.
because we've had so many moments like that where we've met someone once or twice, but just based on that one interaction, even if they do not need our services or never work with us, they will still refer us or and did to other people that they knew. Just like that quick interaction was enough for them to build enough trust, like refer us to someone that they knew. So
Yeah.
that is worth so much. And I think people nowadays, especially younger people, and like we were talking about this earlier today, like we don't want to sound like crotchety old people, like giving like this,
Old
stuffy business
millennials,
advice,
if
old
there are any
millennials.
Gen Z
We're
listening.
kind of like in between millennial and Gen Z. And so like we
Yeah.
get it. And we're both introverts. We don't love doing all that stuff. We don't love having to go out, but like you kind of do. Like if you're going to be a business owner, you kind of do have to like do the hard thing, do the cringy thing, put yourself out there, talk to people. It's going to be embarrassing. You're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to fumble on your words all the freaking time. I still do that. I did that at a conference the other day. I was like, I'm so many years into my business. I have all this confidence and yet I still like feel like I can't like talk to strangers at a business conference.
It's
Like that's still
hard,
scary. It never gets like that much easier. Like I
right?
guess that's kind of the honest truth. I feel like so many people are like, I don't know, they kind of paint this picture of entrepreneurship like everything's going to be like, rainbows and roses and unicorns and everything once you're an expert. And like I just don't think that's always how it feels. Like even if your business is doing really well, you're still just a person, and like
It's a
marketing is
vulnerable
still
thing.
hard, networking is hard, like
Yeah, you're
all of
putting
it's
yourself
hard.
out there. You're opening yourself up to like judgment and rejection, and that is scary. And that's anybody starting anything. Like whether you're a musician putting your music out there or you're a designer putting your services out there, it's a scary thing. So I think like
Mhm.
it's okay to acknowledge that, but you also need to know that that is just part of starting a business and starting
Mhm.
to offer services. And I think entrepreneurship is such a cool thing with so much freedom and flexibility and like really anybody can become a designer thanks to all of the like awesome resources where you can learn online and like teach yourself. But the caveat is that it does come with like a high level of investment in your time and in your like courage and confidence in the beginning to get it started.
Mhm.
That's
Like if
just
you're going to
part
be
of
your
it.
own business owner, like
Right.
I think it's a big difference in being a designer working for someone else and being a designer working for yourself. The
Yeah.
two totally different like skill sets. And I think that like so many people, like I don't know, especially just like the comments we'll get on our TikToks and stuff, they're like, I'm not finding clients, and I'll ask like, what have you tried? And it's like they haven't tried everything, and I'm like, well, you need to put yourself out there more. Like you can't expect to get clients if you're not actually putting in all the effort and like trying all these different things. I think so much of entrepreneurship and why we've been successful is that we have been so adaptable. Like we were like, okay, well, that didn't work, that failed, try something new. Like
Right.
if you're like letting something fail and then letting it like, or not letting something fail. If something fails and you're letting that like make you feel like you are then a failure and then now you need to quit your business and now you're never going to get clients. Like I know it's easy to get like caught in those like anxious thought loops, but like if you allow yourself to let that like actually prevent you from moving forward and like making changes in your business, and like you're not going to have a successful business. Like I think that's just kind of like the tough love, the hard truth is like you have to just like push through that stuff if you
Mm-hmm.
actually want to have a business of your own. Some of the different things we tried, of course, was being in the entrepreneurship center, attending those events, attending like networking events. But I think another one that people forget about is kind of like a more fun and like easygoing one is just like going to like non-related like not work events where your ideal client might be hanging out. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
that's like where a lot of people get tripped up is they're like, I have to be doing all the marketing and all the platforms and go to all the events. But they don't actually think about who their ideal client really is and where they're going. And so I think that's kind of like you need to take a step back and think, okay, well, if my client is someone who like maybe say your client is like therapists or like yoga teachers or whatever. I don't know. Think about where are they hanging out? Like a yoga teacher, like they're probably like going to the farmers market. They're probably like doing outdoors things. Like I don't know. I'm just trying to think like where are they hanging out? Go and join groups that do that, and like join groups that have those people in that, and then just like hang out and like make genuine connections,
Natural
and
connections.
maybe yeah, and like maybe you'll end up being like a good business partnership for them, like a if they are your ideal client, you can like pitch your services, and I think that could be great. And if they're not, they might know somebody who is a good client for you, and you've built that
Mm-hmm.
trust and built that connection. So I think like every little like genuine human interaction you have can be beneficial to you in your life. And even if it isn't, at least you had a nice interaction, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what life is about too.
I think so many people find themselves in the scenario of like, okay, I think it'd be really cool to shift to starting my own design business. So I'm going to make an Instagram for myself. I'm going to put up a website. And then they're like, I post on Instagram every day for a month and like nothing's come of it. And it's like, yeah, that
Yeah, it
makes
might take more
sense
time than that.
because you've been trying one marketing endeavor of posting on Instagram, but like what is your marketing plan? Your marketing plan cannot be making an Instagram and a website and posting every day. That is not an effective marketing plan for starting a business. You need to make a full plan of like all these things you're going to try and see what works and then pivot from what is not working. So Amanda,
Mhm.
you made a really good TikTok recently about like all these different ways, practical ways you can try to find clients. So I think we could
Mhm.
like kind of go through this list of marketing endeavors that you can try. Definitely, like you're not going to be able to do all of them. I think a solid marketing plan is picking a realistic number of things you can do consistently, and then like being very consistent with them for more than 1 month. Expect to be consistent for probably like a year in your business before you're getting consistent inquiries and booking consistent projects. Like it is going to take a lot of time to build this
Yeah.
up.
Okay, so we'll give you some quick tips on like if you want to create your own marketing plan, what you can be doing consistently, give you some ideas of things that we've done. So again, like Cass said, set a realistic like list of things you can do, and also make sure you're aware of like who your ideal client is and like where they are online. Like don't be putting a lot of marketing efforts on TikTok if your client is like probably not on TikTok. So just like have some awareness about who they are, where they are, and then start by like reaching out to all of your business connections that you have, any like friends and family who may need something small. Like our first client ever was like a friend of Cassidy's who needed a website and a brand for her blog, and we charged like $200. That was great. That was a great way for us to like
Yeah.
test working together and like test our project process.
And like the rest of the
um,
things on this list, like they'll kind of be like, take it or leave it, or, find the things that you can do consistently. But I do think reaching out to your existing connections is something that everyone should do when they're
yeah.
like first starting a business.
hmm Yeah. And don't be afraid of like annoying people. Like I feel like some people are like, oh, I don't want to like reach out to like my friends or family or even like acquaintances. Like, but I think you should. Again, like you have to like embrace the cringe a little bit if you're gonna start a business and start posting online.
Especially if you're coming from a like
And it's not
authentic
cringe,
place
but I know it
of,
feels it.
I mean, if it can feel that way, but if you're
hmm
coming from a place of like, I'm doing something I'm really passionate about, I feel like I can really help other businesses. These are my creative strong suits. Like that will show to people. Like we were talking about going into actual businesses. We're not being some like sleazy drop shipping marketing, I don't know, like kind of salesy person in that way. You're being an authentic like service provider who wants to help other businesses, and people will see that and they won't be like cringed out or like annoyed by it if you come at it from that angle.
Yeah, and I know it can feel hard to like feel like you have that presence, like especially if you are younger or newer and you may not feel like, oh, I'm an expert who can even like, how do I even know I can help them? But I think that's like what we try to remind designers of all the time is that like even if you are a newer or younger designer, like if people are coming to you for your services, that still means that your services have value to them. Like you're still doing something helpful that they can't do themselves or don't want to do or don't have the time to do for whatever reason. So don't like doubt yourself, you know? I think it's so easy to doubt yourself as a new designer. But yeah, like going to in-person networking events or even like unrelated events where your ideal client may be hanging out and just making genuine connections. You can also join online business groups. So this may be like a Facebook group, maybe it's on Circle, maybe it's on Discord. And it could be like other designers who are asking for like white label work or referral partnerships, or it could be other business owners who are your ideal clients. And I don't recommend going into like a Facebook group and like, posting yourself. Usually there's rules that like you cannot promote your own services, but they will allow you to link your own website if someone is asking for a designer. So that is actually how we got a ton of clients when we first started, especially because like I feel like at the time, even for newer designers, I think we had a pretty good website at the time for where we were at and really good like clear messaging, clear services. And so we would post on like every Facebook post we saw where people were asking for designers, and we got a lot of those clients. And I think because we put in that effort and made sure that our like messaging and branding was really good and really clear, we stood out amongst a lot of the other designers. I mean, there would be like 30 to 50 people commenting and we would win that client. And so I think if you're setting yourself up so you can be like ahead of others, then you will be more likely to get those clients.
And it's the same philosophy as talking to people locally or in person as online. Like you're making those connections, and maybe the person that commented looking for a designer isn't going to work with you, but somebody else in the group saw your website and decided to take a look. Or
Yeah, I've had that too. Yeah.
it's just about another way to put yourself out there, another way to meet other
Mhm.
business owners, and that's going to be an investment in the long-term marketing for your business.
Yeah. So, especially with long term marketing, of course, like posting consistently on social platforms where it makes sense for you and your business and your clients. Maybe choose like one, two, or three different places to go. But even like one is enough. Like one is difficult enough to maintain. So just like do what you can do. This also depends. Like if you have some other job that you're currently working while you're trying to build your business, like do what feels like realistic for you right now.
And what's going to pay off the most. I think sometimes a lot of us revert to being like, well, I'm going to post on Instagram or post on TikTok, and that's going to be an important part of my marketing plan. But like, maybe that's actually not going to be what's bringing you the most clients. Like, I think you really need to think about your reach, what's going to help you reach the most people and what's going to bring in the right people, like Amanda said. So some of these things you'll try, and if you're not seeing traction from it or it's not feeling worth your time, you might want to focus on other areas, because there's not one right way to organically market your design business. It's not all on social media. There might be other places you want to invest your time and resources.
Yeah, just got to be adaptable. Another way we really like doing is, and we did this more so when we first started, we don't do it as much now, but just finding like your ideal clients online. So whether it's, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, but just like follow them, start engaging with their content, just posting like genuine comments or compliments, questions, whatever, just engaging with them. And after a while, once you feel like it's maybe been like a couple days or a couple weeks, whatever feels right for you, and you think that like, okay, they've definitely acknowledged, like they see that you exist, you've like built somewhat of an online connection, then that is when you can then go to sending like a warm email. And now we call this a warm email, not a cold email, because we are not a fan of like cold emailing or cold DMing people where you have like no foundational connection, nothing at all, no relationship established. They have no idea who you are, and you're just out there like, please hire me, blah, blah,
Yeah, I
blah.
think
Like
we've all
that's
gotten
not
those
the vibe.
messages. Like, sometimes we'll get message like, "Hey, girly, like, love what you're doing. Like, I feel like we have a really strong connection about this.
And like
Would
I've
love,
never seen you
never
before.
heard of you. Your message feels like way over the top, feels really inauthentic. You copy and paste it to everyone. Like, nobody
Yeah.
wants to get a message like that."
Yeah. So what we like to do is like build those genuine connections first, following them, and like even if they never become a client, you can still follow them and engage. Like if it's someone you genuinely like, or like their business, like their product, services, whatever, like cool. You should like be engaged with them and create that like connection. Um, but I think it's really great to send that warm email. And in the warm email, where we know that we've had like somewhat of a connection established, that they're aware of who we are, but we'll just like introduce ourselves again. Maybe we'll share our services, and then like share one or two ways that we think we could actually like help them, like a specific thing. And we'll also try to like compliment something we think they're doing really great, and then
Or
also
find
share
like
like
a
something we
connection
can do
point.
to help
Like,
them.
"Hey, I see you like
Mm-hmm.
sell this type of product. Like, that's something I personally love or feel, really connected to." And that's why it's important to find like the right leads, because basically what this is finding leads and pursuing leads for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're researching businesses online or on social media
But
to
in like
reach
a
out to.
genuine human way, in like a nice way, not in like
Yeah,
a I'm copying and pasting this message and I sound like a bot kind of way.
right, because it's hard, because yes, like you have to use some sales techniques of finding leads and reaching out to leads. You cannot be passive. You have to be active in finding people to work with, but at the same time, we're so saturated with like gross salesy stuff of people who it obviously feels like they're only talking to you because they want to work with you.
Or I don't think it's necessarily that. Like, it's not just like talking to you because they want to work with you. It's like talking to you because they're like they want your money, like that kind of feel. Like, I feel like you can feel that from some
Sure,
people
yeah.
online. And I think that's where like we really want to take the stance of like we do want to work with you. We do want you to like hire us for our services, but because like we genuinely feel and know that we can like help your business, and that helps their life and that helps our life. Like, again, just bring it back to that human connection. Like, we all just want to like live good lives and do what we're passionate about, and like that's what I want to help our clients achieve. I think that's like kind of the attitude you should have about like sales. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be icky if you're actually doing what saying you're doing. Like, it's icky to do marketing and sales if you're trying to sell something just to get money and you're not, bringing any return for them, right?
Right. That's a good clarification. So that list of like making connections, posting on social, all those different marketing things you can do, you want to build yourself a marketing plan from that list. Do that very consistently. Expect that it's going to take many months of being consistent to start building that like snowball of clients who want to work with you. But if you do it consistently, like, you are going to start getting inquiries. So that is half of working with clients and building your business. You're going to have those inquiries, but then you need to make sure you have like processes and things in place to be able to book those clients and like not lose those leads, because those leads are so valuable. You worked so freaking hard for those leads. Make sure you have stuff set up in place. So this is the like what the fuck to do next part of
Mm-hmm.
the topic. So we want to make sure we touch on some of the most like important parts of our process that have helped us actually book and convert about 80% of the leads that we bring in.
Mhm. Yeah, I think, like, when we first started our business, we were pretty much running everything through emails, and
Mhm.
that got really cluttered and messy. Like, we did not have a, like, sales call, script or anything, so, like, our calls were kinda messy. I don't even know, like, sometimes we didn't even do calls at first. It was just, like, emails and just trying to, like, quote
And
a
for, like,
project and
inquiries, we were using a Squarespace form, which is, like, you could do that, but I think we were, like, literally getting the Squarespace form submissions and then replying, and the subject of the reply would be, like, "New form submission," whatever their name was, and so it didn't look very professional,
and it just got
versus, like, what we
messy
do
in
now.
emails, you know? Like,
Yeah, it
things
was
get
so
lost.
disorganized, it was a mess.
Not very professional, like, which definitely makes, like, I think, like, when you start working with clients, you start building your business, and then you start, like, actually going and you see, like, "Oh, I have these, like, kinda holes in my process," and, like, it makes you feel insecure because, like, it isn't up to par maybe with, like, where you wanna be. It's not as professional as you would like, and so I think, like, once we made the investment to, like, build some tools, like, I think once we, like, invested in a CRM, like, our confidence skyrocketed, right? Because we were like, "Okay, great, like, now we have, like, this, like, super streamlined platform to use. We can have inquiries come through in a professional way. We can set up email templates. We can have all these templates for, like, our proposals, invoices, contracts, all these things in one place." And that place, which we love, we're huge fans of, is HoneyBook. So we've been using HoneyBook for, like, years, and it's honestly been so helpful. And again, where we got that stat too is, like, we can actually look at our real numbers and see where are inquiries coming from, how many of them are we booking, like, what's our conversion and booking rate. And we've been able to see that our booking rate is now like 80%. It was certainly far lower than that when we were just, like, using our, email inbox to, like, try to book clients and onboard clients and run projects. Like, that was such a mess, and I think it really did reflect poorly on us a little bit. And I don't want to, like, shame anyone if that's the process you're using right now. Like, we're all starting somewhere, right? But I think if you do have some startup budget, or even, like, I mean, honestly, HoneyBook is not that expensive, and we do have a little
For all of
discount
the
code
the
too.
tools it has, I
For
don't think it
everything
is,
it
yeah.
has, like, relatively, like, for what it has and for, like, the annual subscription, it's very affordable for a business, and we do have a discount code, and so you
Yeah.
can find that in the notes for this podcast episode.
Yeah, but so a CRM is client relationship management software. Basically, for us, a CRM is going to take care of all of our leads. So, anyone who inquires, and then getting us to the point of officially booking that client and sending them a welcome guide, like everything that goes into that process. And there's a lot of different things. The newest thing HoneyBook has rolled out is their template marketplace. So, they have like these things called smart files where you can make proposals out of them, invoices, welcome guides, everything you would need for a client management. And they
And what
have,
makes it smart too is just, like, it has, like, the fill in the blank things that, like, it brings
yeah,
in your, like, client content and information from their inquiry, and it just, like, makes everything so much easier.
yeah, it links to all the information. It makes things very automated and saves you a lot of time.
Mhm.
And they used to have like kind of their own just little simple library of templates, but now they have partnered with some creators to make like really elevated and beautiful templates. And we're actually one of the HoneyBook templates partners. So we have turned our templates that we use into templates on the marketplace that you can now purchase when you have a HoneyBook subscription. So we'll talk about a few of these and we'll also have links to all of them. But that is something that's been super cool that we can now share these because we've wanted to share these for so
I
long
know.
since they're such an important part of our process.
I guess just, like, bird's eye view, like, what do we have? What do we use HoneyBook for? There's an inquiry form. There's email templates that we can plug in. So we'll have, like,
Mm-hmm.
auto responses for if a client inquiry is a good fit, if they're not a good fit, if we need more information. I also really like the project pipeline. So you can set up and see, like, okay, we have, like, two people in the inquiry box. We've got one person who needs to be followed up with again. We have one person who has reviewed the contract but not paid. Like, you can set up and personalize your pipeline. So it just makes it so much easier to keep track of everything, because once your business does grow a little bit and you have, like, more than one client at a time, you really do need to be able to see, like, where people are at so you don't lose people and lose inquiries. Because we've also noticed too, like, your inquiry booking rate is much higher if you respond within, like, 24 hours, if you get them to book within, like, a week. Like, that definitely has increased our booking rate for sure.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, like if you don't have these things in place, you're risking losing this lead that you
Hmm.
have that, might be willing to book like a multi-thousand-dollar project with you. And if you're sending them, kind of an email with typos or that just doesn't say everything it needs to, or you're having to go back and forth and find a time to schedule a call for a million times, or you don't have, or you're sending like a Google Doc proposal that is just not very compelling or not listing all the things it needs to have, like you're risking losing this client. So a CRM is really, I think, something that like you need to invest in as soon as you can.
Yeah, because it
Um,
honestly helps validate your pricing. Like
it
if
does.
your project systems and your platforms look professional and feel professional and easy for the client, that's going to help validate and make them trust you. Because like, why would someone want to pay you like $5,000 to $10,000 for a project if you're running the project through emails and things are getting lost through the cracks? Like, I would not trust my someone with my money if that's how they're running things. And like again, like I said, if that's like your first clients and you're doing that for like projects where you're maybe charging a few $100s, I get it. We were there too. But if you can get to a point where you can afford a CRM, like you said, do it as soon as you possibly can, because that really is going to impact your confidence in raising your pricing and also your potential clients' confidence in you, so they actually will like feel comfortable booking.
Yeah, and have like a great perception of you. Perception and feeling
Mm-hmm.
is a huge thing when you're trying to choose someone to
Yeah.
work with. So, like, we have our inquiry form from HoneyBook that we can embed onto our website and ask all the questions that we need on there. And then we use the HoneyBook scheduler to set up an intro call and have our sales call with them. And HoneyBook actually has like a little AI note taker now that will join in on your calls and take notes for you
It's
on your
so
sales call,
cool.
which
I
is
love
really
it.
neat. And then from there, probably the most important HoneyBook template we use is our proposal smart file. And then the proposal includes obviously like the services we're proposing, but we also include a beautiful like cover page, information about us, our project goals, client testimonials, and then also the project invoice and contract, like all in one, which I think truly helps the perception of the quality of our services so much when people are like, for example, reaching out from TikTok, they find us on TikTok and they're like, I need a designer. Let me just see what, these people are all about. But I can sense like from when we have when we first start sending these emails and we set up the call and then we send the proposal, like I can sense that clients are impressed and like feel comfortable and confident with us because we have these really professional documents and systems set up. It makes a huge difference.
And even past just like feeling that, you can see it because we'll have clients who are ready to book like the day after we send the
Right.
proposal or the same day of. And that didn't used to happen. When we first started business, people were a lot more hesitant. And I think it's because we were hesitant. We were not confident. We did not have an organized system. It was hard to trust us, I think, you know? And so now we have this and it's just so much easier for people. And it's also like physically easier for them because now they don't have to say, yes, I'm ready to book, and then we're like, great, now let me also then put together your invoice and contract after. So then it's like your booking time
You're
is now
drawing it
taking a
out.
week or longer. You know, it's like because you're taking so much time. And then if you don't have all these templates already built in, then you're going to spend more time even building them per client. You're wasting so much of your business time. And like as a business owner and entrepreneur, like time is so important. Whatever you can do to reduce your work time on things that are really not that important for you to be spending all your time on, the better, because you need that
Hmm.
time to like do your big picture thinking for your business and do your creative work for your clients. So you need to automate and streamline everything else. There's really no reason why you should be spending a ton of time on like proposals, contracts, and invoices and all of that,
Yeah.
especially when you have a CRM, because it'll do it all for you with minimal effort, and make your life a lot easier.
So after we send the proposal and the client officially books, we also send them a welcome guide, which I think definitely affirms the investment they've just made, and that's a huge part, I think, of having a just an overall great client experience, because at that point you have booked the client, but then it's on you to really give them the best experience and like validate that
Yeah.
investment and then make them feel good about it. So like overall
Mhm.
bird's eye view, the things you need once you have that client inquiry to book them would be inquiry form for someone to fill out when they're reaching out to you. You want to make sure you have good email templates and like communication. You need a scheduler to schedule an intro call. I would love to do an episode all about sales calls and intro calls. I think that would be really fun. So, but don't have time to dive into all of that. But once you have the intro call, then you need to have a great proposal template and a welcome guide. I think those are the essentials.
Yeah, I think so too. So you could absolutely, make these templates on your own. You could be doing this through other platforms. You don't have to do HoneyBook. You can be starting with emails. But I think if you're ready to really like level up and like be able to start charging more for your work, I definitely encourage you to check out HoneyBook and check out these templates, especially the HoneyBook template marketplace, which is so exciting. I think having like pre-made templates made by experts who've already like been there, already like gone through all the trial and error, we've already learned all the hard lessons, and we've already like put it all in these templates for you to save you the trouble. I think that'll like save so much time and effort and money and just heartache on your side in the business. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely be sure to check out all of our templates on the HoneyBook Marketplace. We'll be sure to like drop the link in the show notes. And you can also get our 30% off coupon code for HoneyBook for your yearly subscription as well.
Okay, so before we wrap things up for this episode, we're going to do a listener question. We had a question from Anna or Anna on TikTok, and they said, "How many clients do you have in a month? I'm trying to calculate if I'll be able to replace my 9 to 5 income," which I think is like a super common scenario. Me and Amanda personally started our business not while working a 9 to 5. We were working some like other smaller jobs, but we had like a lot of just dedicated time to put into our business. So this isn't something we've been through personally, but we have worked through this with a lot of other designers and like seen a lot of other designers go through this. So I think it is going to be a lot of work to like build up your clientele while working a full-time job. So just give yourself patience and like grace and know that it's probably going to take a while to start building up that clientele.
I think the advice that I would have too, especially like if you're currently trying to pivot from like a 9 to 5 job to, I don't know if you have the opportunity to go like part time within that job or if it would need to be a hard break. That's something that you'll have to like figure out for yourself too, because I don't know your full situation. But definitely like baseline like things I think is financial security. So do whatever you can to really build up a good, um, just like emergency savings for yourself. And so usually my dad's a financial advisor and he has always advised me to do like 3 months to 6 months of living expenses, having that saved up for, any emergency, but also especially this situation of like leaving a full-time job. You need to have a really good cushion, and that cushion amount is really up to you. This depends on your life expenses, your potential like business expenses and tax rates, all of that. You need to like do all these calculations. And it also depends on your risk level, like your personal risk limit. Like how much cushion do you need to feel safe, basically? So that's going to be a very personal question for yourself and something that you can explore. So you kind of need to like explore that emotionally, but then also do some real math to find like an actual number for yourself. And that'll help you determine like, okay, well, how many clients do I need then at what price point to equal my 9 to 5 income? And so you can be like starting to build that up. If you're able to start booking clients out, maybe you can book them in advance. That would
Mhm.
start getting you some payments in now to help back up that savings account. And then you'll know you'll have clients in the future. So maybe that'll make it easier for you to schedule. Like, when am I going to put in my 2 weeks notice or whatever? What else, Cass? Are there any other good like tips for just like giving yourself that cushion like before you
Yeah.
start making that transition?
Yeah, I think the question was like, how many clients do you have in a month? How many clients am I going to need to have in a month? I don't think that's going to be one to one for designers because you're going to be like having different services, charging differently. Your timelines are going to be different.
Yeah, I think like the number of clients we have really should not impact the number of clients that you have, right? Because we have very different services. I don't know if you're a web designer or brand designer. I don't know how much time you have. I don't know what price point you may be at. So how many clients we work with is kind of like irrelevant to how many clients you might want to work with. So again, it just comes down to like doing that calculation of like, how much does my life cost? How much does my business cost? What are my tax rates? And how much do I need to like live on in order to like start replacing my income and make that shift or quit my job and then transition or whatever. And so if you want help making this calculation, we have a really great freebie that you can download. This is our Launch Your Brand and Web Design Business in 6 Weeks free guide. So you can find this on our website. Again, we'll put this in the show notes. But in that, it has a really great, just like checklist on everything you need to do to get your new business up and running, but it also includes a calculation that you can follow to calculate what is your base project price. The base project price is not the price you should be charging. This is like the minimum of what you need to cover your life and your business expenses. You should be charging more than that, realistically. But give you a really good like foundational like start point, because so many people don't even know how much they should be charging, or they don't even think about how high like taxes are as a business owner. So you really need to be like doing all that math, and that calculation will really help you with that.
Okay, we'll wrap it up there. Be sure to check out the show notes for the link to our HoneyBook templates and to get 30% off your first year of HoneyBook if you want to try it out. And also, don't forget to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and also give this video a like on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We look forward to our episode next month. And if you have a question you want us to answer on the podcast, you can leave a comment on this video, leave a comment on the Spotify episode.
Episode. I love when words just come out totally wrong. You should leave this in.
Okay.
You gotta show the people the real stuff, you know?
Right. You can leave us a comment on the Spotify episode, or you can send us a DM on Instagram. We're at Foxtrot Branding, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Ooh, should we do a cheers?
We'll do a cheers. Cheers.
Clink.